Hi guys. Today I started by I was preparing for this video and I started with strength based leadership. So whatever our strengths are, at least when you do the personality test, then you will see 5 strengths coming up. So I thought how to every personality kind has a little bit of leadership element in it, some more, some less, and less because of certain other traits in the personality, and anything and everything, all the traits can be converted into leadership traits, provided there is some orientation of it. So I was watching Seth Govin to get some insights, and it was phenomenal, whatever I was watching. So he was comparing leadership versus management skills. Always we knew, when I read Stephen Covey, I knew that he always spoke about leadership rather than managerial skills. In the 7 traits of very effective people, he he discussed about the traits uh, which will make you a very good key player, team player, and might be a manager. But in the 8th key, he is speaking about leadership of very efficient people who gets thing done, who create a change, and who empowers people, right? So I might not be able to catch the exact flow of logic that Seth Govin did, but according to my understanding, whatever will come, let me try to tell that. So he was saying when management is there, it is about certain process. So you have a process in place, you need high efficiency, so you need some management people to be there so that the efficiency can be attained. Nothing to be questioned, nothing to be innovated. Everything is set, and that process needs to be repeated over and over and over again. So there is hard work over the process, and the process gets repeated um, with efficiency each time. The person, because of repeated processes, repeatedly the same thing is done over and over again, some uh, involuntary muscles will be developed, like and we are not very um, conscious of our actions, but it is automated. The highly efficient people. So there is the mind is not at work. It is just the involuntary action, the body, the muscles, which has got habituated for that kind of work, which is working, right? So when your mind is not at work, obviously there is no confusion there, right? So when there is no confusion, you don't hesitate, you don't pause, and hesitation and thought process, all these things lead to um, a holding up of that process, which might take some time, and in that process efficiency, productivity might get affected. But when the mind is there, mind is at work, mind's efficiency is it is should we say that mind also can be trained to be efficient. Of course, if we use the brain time and again, then it gets into a habit of thinking and processing very confusing data, lot of data, and get into a process. Sometimes I also wonder if billions and trillions of data gets processed in the mind, and so if you want to train your mind, like say, is that even possible? Is that even possible? Is that in our control? Because so many studies have said that only 5% of the conscious mind we are in charge of. The rest 95% we don't know. We can't have control over those part of the brain usually. But there are some processes people have reached out to that level to um, master that part which is not controllable, and they have got very phenomenal result, as we see. My wish is common. So the genie says that once you wish, that is what my command is, and I follow that. So the subconscious mind is a genie, and it follows the person, the wish that gets control over the subconscious mind. So that is another level. And in India, like say, we grow up with those kind of concepts, but no, those are not very logical. So it's just a matter of feeling, you know. Ultimately, we get into feeling. We establish many things logically, and that is what Said Govind is trying to do. And he is establishing things step by step. And ultimately, he's coming to the feeling level. So, if that is so, then let us think of the logical steps before we get to the feeling steps. Uh, so he is talking about responsibility and authority, right? No authority but responsibility. When you are responsible, nobody is asking you to be responsible. When long meetings are there happening, what do you think the long meetings are for? Are those for taking responsibility? Can you kind of tell somebody to take responsibility? The moment you expect somebody to take responsibility because you have told him or her to say, you are creating a management system. You are not creating a leadership system. So when everything is happening logically, put on paper, the minutes are being taken, and the meetings are happening for say 1 hour, 2 hours, and everybody is appearing like say very attentive. Do you think that they are attentive? And so what are they doing? They are creating processes in which they don't have to take responsibility. Right? That is what hour and hour are. That is what being discussed in so long a meeting. Because people who are thinking about the solution, thinking about taking responsibility, those people are very hurried to get back to work and see for themselves whether the things are working or not. They are not very right in the beginning. They don't know whether it is a correct decision or not, but they are there. They will get to work no matter what. So in this context, where does education comes in? Education is making the people ready for some task to be task to task to undertake some tasks. They are not getting educated. They are getting prepared to undertake some tasks. So, what happens when you do something and what happens when you don't do something? This is a question that comes up when your mind is at work and you are thinking in a very abstract manner. Don't you think this is very abstract? You are not mechanical. You are not, you are thinking something which still doesn't have any logical step, any logicality to prove it. But whatever happens and whatever works ultimately, success everybody seems to accept. You know, when something works, then everybody seems to accept whatever process you have attempted. And it is never linear. It is never linear. It is never logical. Why somebody starts doing something is very illogical. You know? So Seth Govin has taken the example of a sports person who is riding a bicycle in a in a sport. So everybody is doing hard work. Everybody has trained very hard to win the race. So how does the winner gets differentiated? So the person who has invented something new and he finds himself to be going ahead of others is riding the bicycle in a very different way. He is riding with, like, say, his legs horizontal to the cycle. It is not pedaling the bicycle, but he is almost like lying on the cycle. And that has created the momentum, right? So he is on a bicycle. So he is sure to win because this is an innovation. But halfway there, another person who is on a bike, he also starts mimicking. He can see what this person is doing and he has started the same. He is applying the same. Now a bicycle and a cycle, there is a competition. Who you think will win? Definitely the bike, right? When the bike is winning, who had the innovation? The bicycle person had the innovation. So can you see how quickly you lose to somebody smarter? What do you do then? The other person was just following, and your mindset has to be accommodative of people who are smarter, who tend to get over you, who tend to get ahead of you, following your own rules, following your own secrets. You can't dismiss that. Can you blame that as well? You cannot blame. That is a blame game. So, what are you supposed to do? If you are a leader, you have several such innovations in mind, not just one. Are you, do you want to be known by the way, the end result, or by the process? Everybody talks about the process. If your process is foolproof, it doesn't matter whether you won or you lost. It is never winning or losing. It is providing, in a sport, it is providing quality competition. And in the physical world, it is providing an empowering leadership. It is providing quality competition, healthy competition, so that the progress, any kind of progress, doesn't get stuck. People will take your innovation in several ways. They will adopt it in several ways. Each of that is a win. But you have to have that mindset to accommodate. That is a tribe. People like you will be joining hands with you. And you'll be lucky if you find your kind in the vicinity of wherever you are. Those people get attracted over a period of time when you prove yourself over a period of time. Those people will know that they belong to your kind. Sometimes it is self-discovery as well. So you are the person who is creating the other person to discover the self, which he otherwise wouldn't have done. Isn't that a great thing to be contributing to this world? The next is leadership is about solving an interesting problem. You will never foresee those kind of problems. You are not sure whether you will be succeeding or not, but you will be indulging in that irrespective of the result. That is your kind. Experimenting on a whole lot of things and getting it done. It is about writing a story without an agenda because you wanted to write. Does that sound very illogical? Let me give an example. Do you love to write? Because this is the question of writing has come up. So I want to elaborate on this. I love writing. Why? Because that has been the only way to express myself. Because if I speak and I speak to anybody, I don't see anybody understanding what is the matter. People don't seem to get to the depth of where I am coming from. It is not their fault. I cannot blame anybody. It is just that the inner travel, the inner conflict, the inner uh, contemplation, reflection has been much more because I was the only child. I didn't have many people to talk to. And I had this gift of writing. Whenever I wrote, I got appreciation. Whoever read it, they appreciated it. And they read only 5% of what I wrote. The next 95% I wrote to myself. I spoke to myself. Right? This is where I got my answers. I spoke to myself, like say we speak so many times to speaking to the higher power. How do you speak to the higher power? How do you get connected to the higher power? It is by writing without an effort, without making any effort. Whatever words comes to your mind, you just write it down. There is no logic. Only you understand what is the logic, what is the binding thread behind those words. Obviously, nobody is going to understand. But you know, in that process, you get connected to your higher self. There seems to be a guidance coming to you. You are having access to your higher power, and it gives you guidance. So you have got somebody, a friend in you, within yourself, which is not visible to you, but available whenever you want that person to be coming to you as a friend, as a guide, as a mentor. Suppose you suddenly stop writing. Do you have any other method by which you can access that higher power? These days, they call it as journaling, right? So, what Seth Govin was trying to say with all this kind of stories, and now this story has happened to me. This story also was part of my childhood. So I'm trying to say that all leaders, they are not dependent on the other person, whether the tribe is coming with them or not. Initially, they are not dependent. They are not looking for the tribe. They are promoting themselves. They are motivating themselves to get ahead with a sole idea which they have seen to be possible for themselves. What do scientists do? Do they have a whole bunch of people supporting them? No. When they start doing whatever discovery, invention they are doing, like the apple, it was only Steve Jobs who could see it. Others, if they could see, they could have done apple. No, there would have been many more versions of apple available right now. But apple is apple. Nobody can compete with it. Microsoft people, 90% of them, they want to be like Apple. But what does Apple do? Apple is striving to be better and better and better than it is today. So they are competing against themselves. So that is what a leader does. The leader always competes against himself or herself, right? And design is not about being pretty. It is about, like say, the question is who it is for. It solves a problem, as I said. The leadership is about designing something new process in which the human beings get empowered, right? And they do it with a design, and the design will be who it is for, what it is for. These are the two prudent questions that they ask. So there is this example of writer's block and Frankenstein. These were two things invented by a couple. I forgot that name. You might Google it. So, writer's block was a concept in which the writer gets hidden and he conveys whatever God conveys through him. So many writers, whoever was trying to hide and trying to express, used this idea. He was not a great poet, still he wanted to write. Maybe he was a poet who didn't convey things very logically, or whatever he saw was not easily felt. or experienced by people. So he had to hide behind something. So he created this writer's block. And Frankenstein, everybody knows, right? So these were the two concepts. For the first time, it came to being, and people followed. Now, these were two conveniences with which we two ideas got conveyed, right? So this is what innovation is, and leadership is about innovation. And a leader, so what is a leader should also, it is not always the sweet things that comes to him. Before any success happens, there are many failures. So it is just the Pareto rules. So for every success, you have to face, say, 9 failures, right? Or you, if you take, say, 20-80 ratio, then for every success, there are 5 failures. That is what we can say. So it is, the leader should be prepared to get hit, get wrong. Still, he has to take responsibility of something that has taken place. And what does management do? They use fear, shame, anger to manipulate you and take the best out of you. Management doesn't empower you. Of course, you get to love what you do ultimately if you are doing long enough. And but they always try you to be flying low. So when you are flying very low, then your wings will be burdened by water and mist, and the you will not have the pressure to fly high, right? When you are flying very high, then you have the air pressure also going for you. So, but that courage to fly high doesn't come from a management. It comes from leadership. It is the leader who allows you to fly high. Uh, Gifts, attitude, skills, right? So which are the gifts? Attitude and skills. Whatever your attitude is, if you use it for long enough, this can be a skills, and that can be taught. But dreams, if you are a dreamer, that cannot be taught. It comes to you with comes to you naturally. It precedes all your learning. Right? And what do leaders do? They make decisions. Decision and outcome, those are unrelated things. You have bought a lottery ticket, and it has won you, say, $50,000. That is a good result. The outcome is huge, but that was not a good decision. Stupid people buy lottery tickets, right? And there is something called sunk cost. You have spent a lot to become an MBA or a lawyer, but right now you don't want to be a lawyer. So that is a sunk cost. But that experience has given you something to look forward to. You have become something because of that, indirectly or directly. Now, if you don't want to take that cost, that is fine. But outcome and sunk cost are two things to own or not to own. That is your choice. If you want to, if you make a choice to own it and explain many things in your life with the help of that, it is fine. If you don't want to own that, that also is a choice. And there comes quitting. When do you quit? Winners only can quit. Losers are already they haven't started at all. So there are two times when you can quit as a leader. When you start and you see that this is not wise enough to pursue, you can quit. Or at the end of a process, when you see that this is not worth pursuing, you can quit then. But you cannot quit when you are in the failure. When in the deep in the process, you should continue to persist on that, because you will never know what will happen. So when you overcome that dip somehow, and then when you are on the up, you have overcome, you have mastered this, then you can quit, because it might be taking a lot of your time, which is not worth it. Right? Then comes empathy. And this, like, empathy is knowing what you know. You want something that others don't know, and you believe in something others don't believe. And you want the others to believe, know, and want. So if something you have worked out, it is not a straight process. It is a loop. You reach there, again you have to come back, reinvent, and then again you have to take that loop. It is never ending process, right? And how do you motivate yourself to continue with the loop? It is the possibility. You can see the possibility because you are able to see the possibility, not others. And if you are seeing the possibility, then you can make it possible, right? And you become responsible for this. So, goals, strategy, and tactics. There is no maps but a compass. You know the North Pole is there. And with regard to that, because your ultimate goal is empowering people, so you have started the process, and you have gone on and on and on. All the while, the people empowerment process is there. You are thinking about how to bring about the potential of people around you and yourself in the process. You are not thinking about yourself only. So many people who are seeing the same possibility join you hands. They are not seeing the possibility of success. They are seeing the possibility of the process in which the potential comes out, and potential is never ending thing. It doesn't have an upper limit. It happens, and it creates new thing. We are creating a blueprint for everybody to follow. Even if we are not succeeding at the end of each loop, we are still creating a blueprint for the person who is following the same path in the same journey. so that he knows that this is the path and this is the journey that has already happened, and it has to go through all these repercussions. So you cannot kind of eliminate anything. And because there is a precedence out there, it, it enhances the confidence of the person who is following. Right? So that person will see with what endurance you have followed, you have persisted with this particular process and never gave up. At least to that extent, he will follow. And it is for sure that the person who is following will have a better, he will have an enhanced sense of uh, patience, and to follow up the persistent path. He will be more consistent because already he has seen that this goes to this process, this road follows this up to this. Do we have an example like that? Internet Explorer, Orkut, giving way to Facebook. And now it has given way to Insta. And many more things will come up in future. Everything to enhance our experience. We are not stuck with this. Whatever limitation is there with whatever system we have, it is going to exceed that because artificial intelligence is there. So that tribes comes up with with the volunteers who are like us, following us, and that is how we form a team. It takes time. If you are lucky enough, if you get your team very quickly. But take any example. People who persist with you till the end will be the people, there will be very few. Some 20% will be there till the end, and they will see the pinnacle of success with you, along with you. All others will uh, uh, leave you halfway. That is for sure. Because the conviction level is different. And everybody's journey is different. Everybody's thought process is different. And there is not one leader, right? There are many leaders. And each person will be a leader only if he is in the process. Anybody with little rigidity, inflexibility, will not take the entire journey. So it is for the leader, that is not the point to be bothered about. It is the inner conviction, and he has to be there. Others will come, join, and if that becomes a movement, that is another thing. But mostly he will be a loner. But he, in the process, will empower so many. And it is very difficult for another person to take to that level unless one is very, very mindful about the successes, the failures, the disagreements, and the cohesion. Everything has a different weightage, and it comes to comes to a particular point where it gets decided automatically on its own. So this is all that I had today uh, from the strength-based leadership, that topic which I was trying to tell you. Strength is uh, the inquisitiveness, the innovation, and people empowerment. That is at the core, which will lead you to the leadership level. Hope this is useful to you and this helps you. And I would like your comments below this, whatever your thoughts have been at any point of time. That will help me to understand your thoughts and how to help